Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 8. So fire, The Flash, and murder? Is that a perfect combination for a storyline? I personally have no clue, but this season of The Flash could make that happen. Episode 8 of this season of The Flash officially kick-started the next graphic novel or the next storyline for The Flash in, interesting and new ways. We have had forensic science Barry throughout the show, as of course, it is his day job. And though it really hasn't been that big of a presence after season 1, because that in itself was Barry really figuring out who killed his mother, we have seen it pop up here and there from time to time since then, but definitely not in a major or just overall consistent way. And though I doubt we are going to, hear a song by The Who explode into our ears, at the beginning of each episode or something from now in this storyline, it seems that Barry will use his skills as a forensic scientist over the next handful of episodes to try and figure out what is going on in Central City, and more importantly, who is this mysterious serial murder that's going around, or maybe what it is. Of course, in episode 8, the episode that has just aired at the time of this video coming out, we saw Jaco Burt return from season 4 and be accused of a murder committed by someone with fire meta abilities like he has. And while everyone in the CCPD and others outside of it as well were ready to lock him up and throw away the key for his crime, Barry believed in Jaco and went above and beyond to prove his innocence, which was a success. However, though Barry saved Jaco from probably a life sentence in Iron Heights, the real killer was not found, just not found at all. However, one thing that was revealed in the episode is that the meta who killed 2 people in this episode is one with fire abilities. However, they are related to nuclear and cold fusion. This, of course, springing Team Flash into action as they have a serial killer on the loose, and outside of the 2 people that were murdered being employees of the same bar, there aren't really any leads as to who it could possibly be. But in this video, we are going to be going over the latest promo material to be dropped online by the CW for this season of The Flash, that being the synopsis or description for episode 11, which is otherwise entitled Resurrection, which once we dive into it should have many excited. But of course, before we do that, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below your various thoughts, theories, predictions, anything like that. I'm always curious to where you guys, are thinking, especially based off this, because I myself was questioning things when I was typing all this stuff up, so I didn't even know which way it's going to go when the episode actually airs, so I'm very curious to hear what you guys are thinking. And of course, I want to show you support, and if you're looking forward to anything that's coming up in this episode, why not drop a like on the video to do all that. Barry and Chester may have found a way to stop the Black Flame from hurting anyone else. Meanwhile, Caitlin decides to handle a situation on her own, possibly putting more innocent lives in danger. So yeah, that's a pretty contained synopsis, not really giving too much away, at least based on, the face value of it. But when you mix in stuff that has already been revealed previously for this episode in the lead up to this story arc, or maybe not specifically this episode, but just the entire story arc as a whole, we can start to piece together certain things. So of course, let's do that right now. So we start off the synopsis with Barry and Chester having to find a way to stop this mysterious, serial murdering villain, which we know from previous descriptions for upcoming episodes, as well as this one, has been dubbed the Black Flame. Now, whether that is a Team Flash name is another question. You never know. We did see on the calendar at the beginning of last episode that they have that Barry has video chats linked up with Cisco or planned with Cisco, so maybe Cisco might message them some suggestions. Like, what is it? It's a floating black cloud that does fiery stuff? What about Black Flame? But who knows what's going to happen there? Who knows who comes up with a name? But Barry and Chester need to find a way to stop them from hurting anyone else. So at this stage, we have 2 victims, 2 confirmed kills by this murderer, who are the 2 employees at the Irish pub that we have been to a good amount on the show and even this season, because of course we go there with Frost. And we know, thanks to the trailer for next episode, that being episode 9, that there is at least one more victim, as we do see Barry in, I must add, the epic golden boots, still not over them. He kneels down next to the next freshly burnt to a crisp victim. Now, the one thing that needs to be pointed out, at least from what I can see here, this isn't in the Irish pub. It almost looks like an office, or at least like an apartment or something along those lines. But this could open up the connections for Team Flash, or maybe even make them even more confusing. And maybe to the point where they think this murderer is just killing people at random. And you never know. Maybe they could make it that okay, well, this person's killing people at the Irish pub, so maybe they close the pub down and tell people that, and anyone that works there, to just stay at home. But this Black Flame creature still finds them. I'm not too sure. But as I said in my trailer breakdown for this upcoming week's episode as well, it will be interesting to see if there is a face that we know and recognize that becomes a victim of this killer, whether it's someone from a one-off episode from a previous season or someone a bit more familiar than that. I think you can throw any chance out the door of one of the main characters being killed by this being just because we know that isn't going to happen, though that doesn't mean one or more of them won't be in danger from them. I also said this in my trailer breakdown for this week's episode, that it wouldn't be, too much of a surprise if Frost is a target of this being, if the Irish pub is a major connection, because she, of course, attends there quite often, as I said before. And then there are also characters like Chilblain who used to work there. So who knows who is and isn't a potential target for this black flame smoke killing thing. In regards to what this thing is that Barry and Chester may have discovered that could possibly stop the black flame, that's of course up in the air. But as I said before, we know that their powers are connected to nuclear and cold fusion. So that could be the key to dealing with them. As we know from back in season 1, they have dealt with having to sort of contain stuff around that due to Firestorm and the situation around all of that. So it wouldn't be too surprising if that is referenced back to and the various different processes that were done back then to try and figure out the issue going on right now in the present day. And of course, we will come back to Firestorm later in this video because we have to. Now, I actually have some theories as to who the villain could be because I just don't think it's going to be as obvious as they are making it out to be, and it could easily be who most think it is, but it seems like they are definitely leading us down the obvious path at the moment, and for some reason I just have this feeling there is going to be a twist, but that's to wait and find out and hopefully be surprised by it. But next up in the synopsis, which also finishes it off, is that Caitlin goes out on her own to deal with something that has the possibility of putting even more lives in danger, and not just overall lives of people, but innocent ones. So people not involved, with Team Flash or close to it or anything like that, just the general public most likely. Now, I think it is obvious why we are seeing Caitlin go about doing things like this, and that's because episode 11 is supposed to be the first official appearance of this season, or in this season, of Robbie Amell back in the role of Ronnie Raymond. Now, we were told he would be in 2 episodes for this season, the first of these being in episode 11, which of course is this episode we're covering. Now, they revealed what episode he would be back in, when they initially released this news back in, I think it was late last year sometime. It might have been December, because I think it came out while Armageddon was going on. However, when they said he was coming back, they didn't say how or why or anything like that, just that it was 2 episodes starting in episode 11. Now, whether that means he is in episode 12 as well is unknown because they didn't say back-to-back episodes. They just said 2 starting in episode 11. But we also don't know the nature of his return because, he's supposed to be dead. And the fact that it is 2 episodes does suggest that these are not flashback scenes. They are in the present day, and Eric Wallace, the showrunner for The Flash, has alluded to him being alive again. And even Robbie Amell, who plays Ronnie, did say that I think all, or at least the majority of his scenes were with Caitlin or Daniel Panabaker and Grant Gustin, who plays Barry. So it does make you wonder where that lines up. And if you think about the show at the moment and season 1 when Ronnie was alive, the only people that would have interacted with Ronnie consistently that are still on the show right now were Caitlin and Barry. So maybe that does open up flashbacks, but I just think it being 2 episodes rules flashbacks out. But who knows what's going to happen. But going off the presumption that it's in the present day and Ronnie is alive again, this does make you wonder whether there could be a tease or 2, or maybe even 3 in previous episodes leading up to this one as to maybe this black flame thing actually being Ronnie, or at least Team Flash connecting certain dots and going on to believe that it could be Ronnie based off all of that. As I've said before, there are just certain things that make you think it couldn't be this simple. And one thing that I think is important to bring up is that we are led to believe that this particular storyline we're in right now that just started is supposed to go until episode 14 of this season. That's the quote-unquote finale for this graphic novel. And as I said before, Ronnie is only supposed to be back for 2 episodes. And obviously, it could be that Ronnie first appears in episode 11 and then doesn't show up again until episode 14 in the finale. But that is a really weird thing to do with your main threat of a villain. So that either means that the Black Flame isn't Ronnie, or Ronnie could be the Black Flame and is maybe sort of like a Deathstorm type character like we saw back in, I think it was season 2 of The Flash. but he's not the main villain of the story, and that there is someone else, waiting in the wings. Maybe they're controlling Ronnie as the Black Flame in some way, or at least setting it up and making him do stuff, whatever it might be. And we of course know that Eddie Thawne is back again later this season in the present day and somehow back alive. So that could be in this storyline as well. And this villain that's, the main villain of the storyline is bringing back people from the past as like corrupt killers or something like that. Like, man, I'm so intrigued to see what they do, because this seems simple, what we're having at the moment, but at the same time, so did Armageddon, and we all know the curveballs that Armageddon threw at us and had us like second guessing everything that was going on. So I didn't even know what to think I didn't even know really what to think too much in regards to where they're going with this storyline, or really what to predict. Now, we did sort of leave Caitlin behind in that discussion. So to come back to her, it will be interesting to see how she as a character handles all of this and where it leads the character afterwards. We know that there is some interesting stuff going on with Frost around the story arc, or at least what appears to be Frost. Maybe it's Caitlin, I don't know. But in regards to Caitlin specifically, like actually Caitlin by name, there's not much known. And she, of course, is probably going to be like the emotional anchor, at least in these Ronnie episodes. So I do wonder where she goes from here after these particular episodes in this story. Now, I have to mention that Eric Wallace did suggest that the time sickness stuff with Iris does play into pretty much everything going on this season. I'm not sure exactly how that will work with this thing specifically. That's just a whole wait and see scenario, because I don't really have too much of a prediction or guess as to how that will work. I am curious at the very least, but like when we're heading into this season, it seemed like the time sickness was going to be Iris' own separate thing, but now it seems like it's actually involved with stuff. So maybe that was Eric Wallace misspeaking. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see how it plays out, because I just don't know how the time sickness stuff would relate to this specifically, because the time sickness stuff just seems to be within Iris herself. It doesn't really seem to be affecting other stuff unless she's like using it and maybe like taking it at a time, like that hairbrush that we saw. So I don't know what's going on there specifically. We'll have to wait and see. Now, I might do a video maybe tomorrow specifically on the villain for this arc and who it could be. Throw in some different options, maybe including some options that some of you wouldn't have thought of, because I have a list. But I didn't want to include in this video because this is just about episode 11, and I wanted to keep them separate just in case. Maybe I spoil it. Maybe I actually get it right or something in that video, and I just wanted to keep it, solely focused on that and not include it here. So keep your eyes out for that if you're intrigued by that video. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it, show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions about everything we went over in this video. Always curious to read what you guys are thinking. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.